Hello everyone, and welcome to my YNR-CBS Daily Update channel. Victor Newman just drew a line in the sand that might have officially buried his marriage for good. Have you ever seen him this cold before? He didn't just ask for loyalty, he basically told Nikki she's either with him or she's his enemy. It makes you wonder if this was a calculated move to save his legacy or if the mustache has finally lost his grip on reality. Let's really dive into this ultimatum because it has everyone in Genoa City absolutely reeling. The air at the Newman ranch isn't just tense lately, it is downright toxic. We have seen Victor and Nikki weather 1,000 storms, but this latest clash over Jabot and Jack Abbott feels different. It feels like the final structural failure of a 50-year marriage. Victor isn't just fighting for a company anymore, he is fighting for total psychological dominance over everyone around him. This whole explosion didn't just happen out of nowhere, either. It's the result of Victor's ego being bruised because he lost Newman Enterprises to Phyllis. When a man like Victor loses his external empire, he always doubles down on his internal one, which means his family. He sees Nikki's sympathy for Jack as the ultimate act of treason. In Victor's world, you are either a loyal foot soldier or you are an enemy combatant. When Victor sauntered out after telling Nikki she must dump her friendship with Jack to make things right, he wasn't just setting a boundary. He was issuing a royal decree. Why did he trigger this situation now? Well, think about it. He can't separate Nikki's history with Jack from his own corporate vendetta. To him, every single moment Nikki spends comforting Jack or worrying about Jabot is a moment she isn't validating Victor's rightful war. He needs her to be his mirror, reflecting only his greatness and his grievances. Inside, Nikki has to be feeling a profound sense of isolation. She has spent decades being the person who enables him, but seeing Victor weaponize AI to destroy Jack is a bridge too far. Jack is the man who helped save her life during her sobriety battle when her sponsor died. She's grieving the man she thought Victor could be, and she's starting to realize he might just be the tyrant everyone else sees. We need to look at this not just as a marriage problem, but as a cult of personality. Victor isn't really asking for a wife, he's asking for a devotee. By making this ultimatum so extreme, he is effectively telling Nikki that her own choices are a threat to his peace of mind. Honestly, isn't Victor's behavior here just repulsive? To demand she cut off a man who was her sponsor when she was at her lowest point is the height of cruelty. It shows that Victor values a win over Jack more than Nikki's mental health or her support system. This is classic psychological projection on his part. Victor is the one being disloyal to the marriage by prioritizing a business feud over his wife's feelings, yet he frames Nikki as the one who is failing the test. His ego is so fragile right now that even a polite conversation between Nikki and Jack feels like a physical assault on his pride. Victor isn't just using old-school corporate rating anymore, he has moved into the dark arts with this AI program. He's using technology to gaslight an entire corporation because he probably feels the world has moved past his traditional style of business. This AI represents unchecked power, and Victor is clearly addicted to it. Victor feels a cold, simmering triumph, while Nikki feels a nauseating dread. She knows that if Victor can do this to Jack, there is nothing stopping him from turning those same illegal, unethical, and immoral tactics on anyone else, including her. I completely agree with Nikki's own ultimatum to Victor: destroy the AI or lose her. Someone has to be the moral compass in that house, even if that compass is currently pointing toward the exit. Victor's refusal to back down is a sign that he has chosen his digital weapon over his flesh and blood wife. He's suffering from sunk cost fallacy behavior. He has invested so much into this war with Jack that he believes he can't stop now, or else all his previous grimy actions will have been for nothing. He's trapped in a loop of his own making, fueled by a lifetime of needing absolute control. We really have to talk about why Jack Abbott is the one person Victor can't let go of. Jack represents the one thing Victor could never quite buy, a legacy that didn't require blood on the floor. The Newmans and Abbotts have a long tradition of hostilities, but Victor's current rage stems from Jack encroaching on Nikki's recovery. Victor is likely terrified that Nikki sees Jack as a better man because Jack was there for her sobriety while Victor was busy keeping booze in the house. That's a deep, shameful insecurity that Victor covers up with loud demands and corporate takeovers. Jack isn't just a rival, he's a reminder of Victor's failures as a husband. Every time Nikki defends Jack, Victor hears her saying, "You failed me," and he didn't, comma. It is wild that Victor can forgive a literal kidnapper like Claire but can't forgive Jack for trying to save Nikki's life. It is a massive double standard that proves Victor's moral code only applies when it benefits him. He views Nikki as part of his estate, and in his mind, Jack is trespassing. The ultimatum is Victor's way of putting up a fence and demanding Nikki stay on his side of it. Things are about to get much worse before they get better. Nikki is already showing signs of physical and mental collapse, taking extra medication and appearing unsteady on her feet. Victor's response to her pain? He basically told her that she was free to leave the ranch and never return if she didn't like his rules. He is literally pushing her toward a relapse just to prove a point. I predict that Nikki's upcoming frightening health crisis won't just be a medical emergency, it will be a psychological one. The stress of being caught between her husband's ego and her own conscience is going to manifest in a way that forces Victor to finally look at the wreckage he's caused. Expect a genuine health crisis soon. If Nikki feels she can't stop the war between these two titans with words, her body might just do it for her. But knowing Victor, he might just find a way to blame Jack for the health crisis too, which would only accelerate the destruction of Jabot. To truly understand why Victor is so unhinged, we have to look back at the relationship fans call knack, the bond between Nikki and Jack. This isn't some new threat. This is a decades-old wound that Victor keeps picking at. Jack and Nikki's marriage back in the 90s was built on Jack trying to use her for leverage against Victor. That's the origin story of Victor's distrust. He doesn't see Jack as a friend to Nikki, he sees him as a predator who uses her to get to the Newman crown. Even though they've been divorced for years and are now just close friends and allies, Victor can't erase the memory of Jack ruining Nikki's other romances. Nikki likely feels a sense of safe harbor with Jack that she never quite gets with Victor. With Victor, everything is a negotiation or a test. With Jack, it's about shared history and mutual support. Victor only knows how to connect through intensity and conflict. We have to look at Nikki's sobriety as the ultimate battleground. When Nikki was struggling, Jack stepped up as her sponsor. Victor did not like that at all. In the soap world, being someone's sponsor is a deeply intimate bond. Victor, however, sees it as Jack stealing Nikki's soul. He's jealous of the vulnerability Nikki shows to Jack that she might be too afraid to show to her judgmental husband. I think Victor is terrified that Jack is actually the better man for Nikki's spirit. Victor provides the ranch and the diamonds, but Jack provides the emotional safety. Victor knows he can't compete with that, so he tries to outlaw the competition entirely. This is retroactive jealousy at its peak. He's not just jealous of who Jack is now, he's jealous of every version of Jack that Nikki has ever loved. By issuing an ultimatum now, he's trying to rewrite the past by forcing Nikki to choose his version of the future. It's an attempt to gain total closure by deleting Jack from Nikki's life. The introduction of Noah's Shadow Room replica, a club from Matt and Sienna's past, is a brilliant way to look at what's happening with Victor and Nikki. Genoa City is currently obsessed with the past. Whether it's Matt Clark's memory loss or Victor's old grudge, everyone is living in a replica of their old lives. Victor's ultimatum is his way of trying to force Nikki back into a replica of their early marriage, where she followed his lead without question. Nikki's headaches and unsteadiness are physical signs of her world spinning out of control. She's being haunted by ghosts like Jack and her past addiction, and crushed by Victor's demands. It's a nightmare scenario, much like the dream she had where Nick died because she was too late to fix things. The Shadow Room replica is a metaphor for the Newman Ranch itself. It looks like a home, but it's actually a stage designed to trigger specific behaviors. Victor wants Nikki to remember her place on that stage. It's ironic that Noah is trying to bring Matt to justice by forcing him to remember, while Victor is trying to bring Nikki to heal by forcing her to forget her friendship with Jack. One is about truth, the other is about a convenient lie. I'm rooting for the truth to win, even if it breaks the Newman family apart. Victor is engaging in compartmentalization. He wants to separate his loving husband persona from his ruthless businessman persona. He expects Nikki to do the same, love the husband, ignore the tyrant. But the human brain doesn't work that way. Nikki's symptoms show that her world is becoming toxic. We can't ignore how Victor uses his children to manipulate Nikki. Victor knows that the one thing Nikki cares about more than her own happiness is her children's safety. By involving himself in Nick's addiction recovery and the battle for Newman Enterprises, Victor creates a unified front that Nikki feels she can't break without hurting her kids. Victoria is growing increasingly worried about her mother, and for good reason. She's watching her parents' status dissolve into a pile of ultimatums and headaches. She feels the pressure to fix them, but she's also a victim of Victor's follow me to any extreme mentality. The Newman family is less of a family and more of a corporate conglomerate. When one part of the family rebels, the CEO uses the other assets to bring them back into line. It's a corporate structure applied to a domestic life, and it's heart-wrenching to watch. I hate that Victor is using Nick's near-death experience as leverage. It's ghoulish. To thank Phyllis for saving your son's life and then immediately think, how can I use this to crush her and get my company back, is classic Victor, but it's also proof that he has no off switch for his ruthlessness. Victor views his children as extensions of his own ego. If they don't follow him to any extreme, he feels deeply frustrated and infuriated. He doesn't see them as individuals, he sees them as legacy units. This is why he can't understand Nikki's loyalty to Jack. Jack isn't a legacy unit for the Newmans, he's a rival brand. Head writer Josh Griffith has teased a very frightening period for Nikki's health. The writers know they've pushed Victor and Nikki to a point of no return. They need a catalyst to force Victor to drop the act and return to being the protector. A health crisis is the ultimate soap opera reset button. The jeopardy to the person you love is designed to make Victor let go of all the anger and embrace them. It's a test of his humanity. Will he choose his grudge against Jack, or will he choose Nikki's life? I'm torn. Part of me wants to see Nikki actually leave and find peace away from the mustache. But the other part of me knows that Nick Tor is the heart of the show. If this health crisis is what it takes to make Victor kind again, then I guess we have to buckle up for the ride. Victor is a man who thrives in emergencies. He is most present when he's the one saving the day. By putting Nikki in a position where she needs saving, the writers are giving Victor his hero mask back, even if he's currently wearing the villain one. In his attempt to secure Nikki's loyalty, Victor might have actually guaranteed her departure. By making the demand so unbelievable, Victor has framed the marriage as a prison. Nikki was already at her breaking point. Instead of offering a hand, Victor offered a handcuff. Nikki is crying and startled by the nightmares of her life. She isn't just fighting Victor, she's fighting the feeling that her whole life has been a mistake. That's a heavy burden for a legacy character to carry. I think Victor made a massive tactical error. He overplayed his hand because he assumed Nikki would wimp out like she often does, but he forgot that a breaking point means something actually breaks. This time, it might be the marriage. We have to look at the collateral damage here. It's not just Nikki and Victor. It's the entire town. When the Newmans fight, the ground moves under everyone's feet. The AI war is destroying Jabot, which means hundreds of employees are losing their livelihoods right before the holidays. Victor's unbelievable ultimatum to Nikki is just the tip of the iceberg. He's willing to sacrifice a whole town's economy just to get back at Jack. Imagine being Summer Newman, their granddaughter. She's said to be hurt by this corporate war. She's caught in the crossfire of her grandparents' toxic dynamic. The emotional weight on the younger generation is immense. Victor's ultimatum is a form of scorched earth policy. If he can't have Nikki's total, undivided loyalty, then he'd rather destroy the peace entirely. I think the most unbelievable thing is that Nikki still wants to make things right. Her resilience is legendary, but it's also her tragic flaw. She keeps looking for the good man underneath the Titan, but the Titan has swallowed the man whole. This is authoritarian personality at its peak. Victor values hierarchy and order above all else. In his hierarchy, he is at the top, and everyone else, wife, children, rivals, must fit into their designated slots. When Nikki moves out of her slot by befriending Jack, it creates cognitive dissonance for Victor that he can only resolve through force. Spoilers suggest Victor finds Nikki and Jack in a compromising position, In soap terms, that could be anything from a hug to a misunderstood conversation. But for Victor, any intimacy between them is a declaration of war. Nikki is likely just looking for a safe space to breathe away from Victor's rage and screaming. Jack provides that, but for Victor, that comfort is a betrayal. The emotional disconnect between what Nikki needs, which is peace, and what Victor demands, which is war, is the core of the tragedy. The compromising position is actually a mirror. Victor sees his own failure reflected in Nikki's need to turn to someone else. Instead of looking at the mirror, he wants to smash it, and smash Jack while he's at it. I hope Nikki doesn't apologize this time. I hope she stands her ground and tells Victor that her friendship with Jack is a non-negotiable part of her life. It's time for Victor to learn that loyalty is earned, not demanded through threats. Victor is using emotional blackmail. He's saying, if you love me, you'll do this thing that hurts you, comma. It's a toxic cycle that Nikki has been trapped in for decades. This ultimatum might be the thing that finally breaks the cycle, or it might be the thing that pulls her back into the enabler role for another decade. Nikki will initially try to hold her ground, issuing her own ultimatum. Victor will double down, telling her to pack a bag. Just as the marriage is about to shatter, the health crisis will strike, forcing a temporary ceasefire. But the underlying issues, the AI, the obsession with Jack, and Victor's need for total control, won't be solved by a hospital stay. The AI war will turn personal, and the ground of Genoa City will continue to move. Victor may have won the moment by silencing Nikki with his ultimatum, but he's losing the war for her heart. And in the end, that might be the one thing the Titan can't recover from. Do you think Victor has finally gone too far this time, or is this just another chapter in their saga that they'll eventually move past? If you were Nikki, would you choose your friendship with Jack and your integrity, or would you stay loyal to the man who built an empire for you? Do you think Nikki is actually going to play nice for Christmas, or is she finally done with Victor's grimy tactics? Is Jack Abbott really the one that got away for Nikki? Or is her bond with Victor something that no corporate war could ever truly destroy? Victor might think he's the king of the castle, but he might find himself ruling over an empty ranch very soon. If you want to stay updated on every explosive twist in the Newman and Abbott war, make sure you hit that subscribe button, give this video a like, and drop a comment below with your take on Victor's ultimatum. Does he deserve a second chance, or is it time for Nikki to walk for good? Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.